Today we're going to be taking a tour of Lake Powell, Utah on the Utah-Arizona Grand Canyon border. Lake Powell was actually a man-made lake. It was created in 1956. It was decided to start with the demolition by the creation of a dam in the Colorado water system. The area of Lake Powell was actually created with the decision to start the water system that becomes the supply for the lower Colorado all the way to actually our local area in California. The dam was created by a decision by Dwight D. Eisenhower, and after the decision to complete this in 1956, there was many of excavation into the Glen Canyon area. First of all, to explore the ruins. Initially, the plans for the area were to a lower, more historic area. And with the creation of the dam, we actually created the second largest man-made reservoir by maxing out the water in the U.S. The Glen Canyon Power Dam completely changed the landscape and the culture of the area when it was created. The dam is actually used for hydroelectric power and is the generation for a large part of what is the lower level in Lake Mead and created for the water of Las Vegas, Arizona, Southern California ultimately. When the creation of the dam began in June 17, 1970, it was going to take a total of 3 years to finish it, which was finished on September 13, 1963. The dam stands at 710 feet high and had a cost of $155 million. One of the major areas that they didn't realize was that it was going to take a total of 17 years for the lake to rise and finally hit its maximum point, which it did in 1980. As a result of the creation of the dam, we had a major cultural change in this Arizona desert region with the creation of the city of Page, Arizona. Page, Arizona was not even an establishment until the beginning of the dam and its creation. The city was started in 1957 as a housing community for the dam construction, and the land was actually obtained from the Navajo Nation, which is a major cultural area of this, and was made as a trade and is still an established struggle with the Navajo Nation and the government as regards to the economy of Lake Powell. Right now, Page, Arizona is a total of 6,809 people, which 67% are Caucasian, 4% African, 5% Hispanic, and a whopping 27% as a Native American population, which would be far larger than many of the other areas in our country. Lake Powell is a major area of recreation for the United States. As the area was created, it is enjoyed by many, an average of 1.9 to 3 million visitors annually for boating, recreation, hiking, canoeing, as in numerous other things. It is the top or upper portion of the Grand Canyon, with Lake Powell being the top and Lake Mead being the bottom. This creates a massive culture of outdoor recreational activity and an economy in an area which would naturally be more desert and canyon land. With this recreation, we've got a lot of the native culture area in the Lake Powell. Specifically in the exploration to create the lake and before the dam was made, there was the discovery of the major culture of Native Americans in the area prior to it becoming a recreational center and major water reservoir for the United States. This area that we currently know as the Forgotten Canyon was being discovered before the creation of the dam, and upon that discovery, going upon the canyons, we get to learn a lot about the history of the area. As we know, the large Native American influence in Navajo Nation did here, but in the 12th and 13th century, there was a group of Indians that dominated the area known as the Ancient Puebloans or the Anasazi Indians. With that discovery, we were allowed to see that in their final stages of their remaining in the area, they were building homes on large cliff sides. It is still to this day trying to be discovered as to why they were building these homes in such high and remote places that were very hard to access, if it was a defense mechanism or if it was done for other reasons. But you can still find these ruins today, as well as ancient petroglyphs along the walls of the Forgotten Canyon into the area of Lake Powell. As a result of the exploration and discovery of the large native influence, it has remained a strong part of this region and this area's culture. One of the major establishments and areas that people will visit when they're visiting the Lake Powell recreational area is the Rainbow Bridge National Monument. This bridge has stood for as long as humans have been in the area, and it is always thought by the Indian culture to be of a spiritual influence. It's one of the largest man-made arches within one of the major areas that you're seeing in effect with Lake Powell and affecting its culture and geographically from the Lake Powell area all the way to Southern California is the creation of the dam and the water reduction levels that we have seen over the past 15 years. In this picture, you can get an idea of where the water is in 2014. As I said before, the dam was at its ultimate level in 1984. This image from 1992 shows how much higher the water and the harbor went when the water is set at the levels that it is supposed to be. Here in 2004, after one of the most massive drought regions, this is the peak lowest the water has ever been. In the next several years, we saw massive rainfalls and the waters began to rise, supplying water to the area and to the Lake Mead region, as well as Las Vegas in amount supplies. 2009, this is the actually ultimate water levels. 2011, you see as well. This is in 2013. You can see the water levels have shrunk drastically, as they feel that they will continue to do over the next 5 years. With the continued water reduction levels and the creation of this man-made lake, many questions are coming into play for Lake Powell. Will this area still be able to be an area of recreation for Americans and visitors from around the world? Will the water levels drop to drastic levels and create a major drought in all of this area from the Colorado all the way to the Southern California water system? Culturally, we are seeing with the shrinking water much more display of the Indian and native ruins that have taken part of the area for the last 11,500 years. As this happens, many people are excited to rediscover the land of Glen Canyon, and many are very frightened of the recreational and economic losses that will affect the culture of the place that is Lake Powell.